What do you think of that, Palmer?
I think that one's pretty cool, but I really like that one. Did you get that one?
Oh, yeah?
Very good show.
You said you can try it.
Are you having fun yet?
Having a blast.
Were these originally from Club?
Yes.
All of them? What kind of?
Not all of the parts, but about half.
When did you start doing this? How many years have you been doing this?
Metalworking or these types of objects?
This type of objects?
Less than a year. So these are very recent.
That's fun. Is that out of whack or something?
No.
Or that's the way it should be?
They're a little quirky, so they kind of do what they want.
All right.
So it kind of decides if it wants to rest to the side or not.
Yeah, and you watch this, and it's slowly being pushed. Not so much now because it's towards. It'll be just another minute or so before we finally got the right kind of combination. Striker.
I can see how it could break its throat.
I don't.
Just is that it?
What you want it to do, man.
Oh, okay.
I would say it kind of came just by manipulating the materials, and I didn't have a preconceived idea as to what it was that I wanted to make. I was just collecting different parts from thrift stores of clocks, and then disassembling them, and even looking at other objects other than clocks, and just seeing how they worked. And I just started rearranging them in certain ways to make them just playing around, just element of play. And it got to the point where I started creating these objects that kind of had more of a life of their own, and I just let them evolve into what they are. Most of them are kind of just standard wall clocks, and they're actually really cheap clocks too. They weren't expensive. I got them for about $3 a clock. Kind of the action of the spring. It's reminiscent of a blooming flower, and so it seemed like the most appropriate term. And
are these like a Bloom series or something?
Yes, kind of an idea that wasn't designed to be resolved with one specific piece through a number of pieces, and so it's just been this study. And then beyond that, kind of a point of departure from that is this piece over here, which is and there was quite a few things I was addressing with that, which were how do I deal with this gigantic white pedestal that's attached to all of my other work. And so my solution, kind of playing around with just a piece of furniture and cutting off one end of the table and using that to kind of bridge the gap between the floor and like the two-dimensional space of the wall. This one I'm playing around obviously more with, the wine glass and other objects, and kind of incorporating them and realizing that a wine glass, aside from what it's traditionally used for, can be used as another object, as a bell.
Now this was the last piece that you were working on, right?
It is. It is. And so I'm trying to kind of mine from that, where I'm going to go from here. So right here, once it gets to the end of this, that's kind of the indicator as to when it will release this arm to smack the wine glass. So it's about to go.
Yeah, sit on it.
That one I was just experimenting with other ways, incorporating other types of mechanisms, and so I added this pulley, and this is basically just a governing system, and so this fan, as it spins, slows down the energy being released from the spring. And so in this one, kind of what ended up happening is that it will release probably for about 10 minutes. It will run smoothly, and then at that point it starts running slower and slower, and then this fan at points even will stop, and there will be points where you can't even really see that it's moving, and you're questioning if it's moving, and you can leave and come back and you'll realize it has moved, and it'll even stop for like 5 minutes at a time and then start back up again.
Like right now it's stopped, huh?
Right now it's actually, yeah, it is stopped, but I could kind of jump start it.
Oh.
Well, this is actually the first in the entire series. And so this one, I just was playing around with this frame right here. This is the first time I constructed that kind of apparatus, which is in all of these. And I just put this in a vise after I had assembled it, wound the spring and saw what it did. And then I thought I could design something to allow that to relate more to a clock, like a pendulum.
So did you cut this yourself, or did you, these found objects, these parts here, or did you design them?
It's a combination. On this one, on all of them I made all the frames, but some of the gears are from clocks. This one, all of these gears are from a clock, but like on the one over here, that one I made all of the gears.
You made all the gears.
And so it just depends on kind of what the intent is for the object and what I want it to do. And so that just dictates my process in a sense. Two things that are really important about my work and I'm insistent upon are the element of play and honesty.
Play and honesty.
Honesty in process. Yes.
What do you mean by honesty in the process?
Kind of allowing things to happen organically, like allow them to kind of react. Like maybe I'll make one part, but I won't, even if I have an idea of how I want to use that part, it always will change. And so these objects just constantly evolve as I make every little part to the piece. And so at some point I just have to say it's finished. And so when I'm saying honesty, it's more relating back to my process prior to making these types of objects, where I had already had a formula and I planned out how I was going to make the entire piece, and then it was just executing it. Whereas these, everything is it's almost like I don't have to make a decision. I'll make a part and I'll play around with that part and another part, or like 5 other parts, until something happens, and then I'll use whatever that is and build upon it.
So what is dishonest?
What is dishonest? Well, to me, it's just an honesty in like the evolution of a piece, allowing things to kind of be what they want to be or want to become. And so I guess I feel like maybe it's a little dishonest, or a little dishonest, maybe just kind of planning things out so that you don't allow an evolution to occur. You don't allow things to you don't allow the things to become what they want to be.
Well, thank you, Kirk.
You're welcome.